think we can go ahead and start now. Okay, hi, I'm Chris Bethay. I'm a lifelong empath, and I've been, okay, I'm nervous as heck, so I've been feeling other people's emotions for a very long time, since I was a child. I would feel people and I wouldn't understand what it was. Can everybody hear me? Okay. And then I got older, and as a teen, it was really tough because, you're going through all this stuff and you're feeling your own emotions and you're feeling other people's emotions and you're like, what's going on? And it was just crazy. So it was really, really difficult. I would often tell my friends, I would know when there was something wrong. And I would be like, well, you don't have to tell me what's wrong, but don't lie to me and tell me that there's nothing wrong, because I know that there is. And then in college is when I learned about paganism, and I learned about grounding and shielding. And oh my God, it was such a relief to be able to shield and protect myself. And it just, from there, I realized that I was different. Well, I figured it out in high school, but I was so introverted in high school, it didn't really count. But then in college, I did the whole, I wasn't alone. And then I met and started talking with some friends, and we started a empath support group because there are people out there like me that just didn't know what to do and just were completely lost and like, what's going on? Why am I feeling all this stuff and everything? So that we created that in 2010. And then people wanted to learn more, so I started actually teaching some classes, mostly pagan, because it's much more comfortable to do it with pagan empaths because, well, pagans are awesome. So we're going to start with the 30 traits that I posted in the group. I have a PDF. So I don't know if you're familiar with these. These are the ones that are generally on the all over the internet, but these are a bunch of people came together and put stuff together, and I've pulled out the best parts. So these are pretty much the standard. So the first trait is feeling others' emotions and taking them on as your own, which is the definition. Some, they will feel emotions from people that are near you. Some people will feel emotions that are just all over the place. Lots of friends and families, you'll pick it up. And distance sometimes doesn't matter. Sometimes you can feel it from pictures, emails, letters. Everybody has different levels of it, but you can pick up all sorts of emotions from other people that are not your own. Being in public places can be overwhelming. It's like you go into a shopping mall or supermarkets or something like that, and you just are feeling everybody's emotions, and it's just freaking you out. An untrained empath just really hates going out in public like that when there's a lot of people, especially strangers, and it's really scary. 3, the knowing. Empaths just know stuff without ever being told. It's a knowing that goes beyond intuition or gut feelings. The more attuned an empath is, the stronger the knowing becomes. You pick up all sorts of stuff. This borders into psychic, which I think is completely a separate gift, but you still kind of have a lot of crossovers. 4, you're watching violence, cruelty, or tragedy on TV is unbearable. Even advanced level empaths tend to know to avoid watching the news. News, bad. There is too much emotion, especially these days when the media uses the shock factor recklessly. It's just ugly out there right now with these bait clicking and everything else, and people are just yeah. The media is just terrifying. Fictional story reactions can vary. Some empaths like horror movies, some absolutely don't like it. Some people like supernatural but can't handle slasher movies. It just depends. I absolutely hate America's Funniest Home Videos. I mean, it broke my heart every time they would show people that were doing things. It was just mortifying what happened in America's Funniest Home Videos. And people would laugh at them, and I would just die. It was horrible. And I will never watch those again. Number 5, when someone is not being honest. If someone is telling lies, an empath will know it. They feel it. You can feel it. Additionally, if someone is saying one thing but feeling or thinking another, we also recognize this. We know that there is just something that's not quite right. It might not be intentional, and sometimes the person might not even be aware that it's happening, that they're saying something that's not from their heart. But we know it, and I feel it's our job to guide them to recognize that themselves so that they can progress and lift their vibrations to a whole other level and continue learning in their life. Number 6, empaths are excellent listeners. An empath won't talk about themselves much unless it's usually someone they trust. This is so difficult right now, let me tell you. Anyway, since we are such good listeners and we don't like to talk much, people tend to talk to us, which leads to the next one. Strangers like to tell us their story. We often become dumping grounds because everybody just tells us everything. I mean, we don't want to know, but we end up finding out, all their entire life history because they sense that we care, and they just will tell us that. And they aren't wanting us to fix anything. Well, they might, but generally they don't want us to fix anything. They just want to say it aloud. And sometimes that by themselves actually really, really helps because it's kind of a form of release. So that's why they do that. Untrained empaths, when this happens, can often take on all of this stuff on their own. I mean, they start feeling the heaviness that the person just dumped on them. And it's so difficult to release that. And that's why it's so important to realize you're an empath and then release everything that's not yours. Empaths are always looking out for the underdog. Anyone who is suffering in emotional pain or being bullied draws our attention and compassion, and we will jump out there and help them if we can. I mean, we just can't stand by and let it happen. It hurts. It really does. Empaths have digestive orders and back problems. The solar plexus chakra is based in the center of the abdomen and is known as the seat of emotions. This is where empaths feel the incoming external emotions, which can weaken the area and eventually lead to anything from stomach ulcers to IBS and lots of conditions that it could lead to. Lower back problems seem to develop because of being ungrounded. So if you're sick a lot and stuff, it could be because you're an empath, because you're holding too much in. It's so important to release every emotion that's not yours. And even sometimes to let go of your own emotions so that you're not, what's the word? You're just not hanging on to it. You got to let it go. Constant fatigue. Untrained empaths can get drained of energy, either from energy vampires or just taking on too many emotions from others. It can get so bad that not even a full night's sleep will help, and it just keeps building and getting worse and getting worse. Again, you need to release the energy, and then you need to shield yourself from people that are trying to take your energy and from people that are around you. Empaths can have an addictive personality. Alcohol, drugs, sex, other addictions empaths turn to block out the emotions of others. It is a form of self-protection. Empaths can be drawn to healing, holistic therapies, and all things metaphysical. Many empaths would love to heal others, but medical fields can be difficult for empaths, especially if they are unaware of their empath gift. They end up drained and suffering from taking on too much. Fully trained and skilled empaths thrive in the medical fields, but it's not for everyone. Empaths know intuitively that there's a connection between one's mind, body, and spirit, and one's health. So you can't just heal bits and pieces of it. You've got to heal all of it, and you've got to take care of all that. And empaths intuitively know that there's more to it than just the physical pain. They have the emotional pain, they have the spiritual pain. You've got to monitor and handle all parts of the whole. It's so important. And as you learn more, you realize that, but it's still intuitive because you're like, well, why is this happening? And then you're like, well, maybe it has something to do with this other stuff. As you get older, you realize that, or you should. And if not, hey, this is it. Sorry. 13. Empaths tend to be creative. From singing, dancing, acting, drawing, or writing, an empath will have a strong creative streak and a vivid imagination. 14. Love of nature and animals. Being outdoors in nature is a must for empaths. Waterfalls are relaxing. The ocean clears emotions. Even showers and bathing can help diffuse emotion, now that I mention it, because water is the empath's best friend. Water has always been associated with emotions, and using the water will help disperse and release emotions. Did my camera just die? Okay. Okay, it made a funny noise, so. Let's see. Pets and animals are an essential part of an empath's life. Empaths are animals are natural empaths and are always willing to share their energies with their humans. It is a beautiful and magical symbiosis. Just animals and nature, it fills us up and raises our vibrations, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. Empaths have a need for solitude. An empath will become distressed if they don't get quiet time. This is even more obvious in empath children. Turn off all electronic devices and get away from it all, and do this regularly. 16. An empath gets bored or distracted easily if not stimulated. Work, school, home life has to be kept interesting for the empath. We don't like to get bored. 17. Empaths find it impossible to do things that they don't enjoy. Never, ever force an empath to do something they don't enjoy. If they can do it at all, it will be a struggle. It's for this reason many empaths can get labeled as being lazy. Labels define empaths, especially young ones, and these labels can follow them throughout their lives. Labels really make a difference. I attended a class once, and for some reason, they labeled me as a troublemaker. So I spent that entire class being a troublemaker. And it was so weird afterwards when I reflected back on that it happened that way, because it just was like, okay, so this is what they want me to be. This is what I am. And it just is so true with everything. So if you label an empath as being lazy, or any labels will follow an empath throughout their life. Well, follow anybody, but this is about empaths. Let's see. Empaths strive for the truth. Empaths give and expect only truth. Don't lie to an empath, we know. So, yeah. Empaths are always looking for answers and knowledge. To have unanswered questions can be frustrating for an empath, and they will always endeavor to find an explanation. If they have a knowing about something, they will search for confirmation. The downside of this is an information overload. Sometimes there could be too much, especially now with the internet. There is so much information. There's so much information, and you have to filter it out because there's just so much there. And it's like, which one's right, which one's wrong? You have to research the sources and figure out what sources you trust. But we always want to know more. Empaths like adventure, freedom, and travel. Empaths are free spirits. We like to travel, go on adventures, and we totally value our freedom. 21. Empaths abhor clutter. It makes an empath feel weighted down, and clutter blocks the flow of energy. But that being said, people have pointed out to me, a creative empath actually thrives on clutter. So, there doesn't seem to be a middle ground. So this one's kind of, interesting because either you hate it or you love it, but there's just no really in between there. An empath loves to daydream. We can stare into space for hours in a world of our own, and it just makes us happy. It's a safe place. This is where we should go for our quiet time. Is just our imaginations are wonderful. Let's see. Number 23, empaths find routine, rules, or control imprisoning. Anything that takes away our freedom is debilitating. We want to be free to be able to do whatever we want to. And, we don't always like structure. Or if we do, we want it to be our own. We have to make it ourselves. We don't want somebody else to define it for us. It's got to be our own. Okay, 24. We are prone to carry weight without necessarily overeating. The excess weight is a form of protection to stop negative incoming energies from having as much of an impact. It's our protective way. But when we are untrained, we tend to build up a wall, and that's our physical wall, unless we learn how to do it with other methods. Number 25, an empath can pick up the physical symptoms off another. An empath can sometimes develop the ailments of another, sniffles, sore throat, body aches and pains, especially those they are closest to. Something like sympathy pains. This could be a sign of the empath having a healing gift. This would be explored as an additional gift to go along with it because, parts of a whole, it's always a little bit of everything. And we never, some people will, some people won't. It's not something that I think that all empaths have, but it's very common. Empaths have an intolerance to narcissism. Although empaths are kind and very tolerant of others, we do not like to be around overly egotistical people who put themselves first and refuse to consider another's feelings or points of view. They don't listen, and they hurt us. They gaslight us. Now, I want to note that we're not talking about the clinical definition of narcissism. We're talking about the new internet definition of narcissism, where people are calling everybody who is egotistical and doesn't listen and controlling and sometimes just mean. They call them narcissists. So I'm going by that definition and not the clinical definition. And to me, the narcissist is the exact opposite of an empath. So they are I can't think of the word, but they are our opposite. Empaths can feel the days of the week. An empath will get that Friday feeling if they work Fridays or not, because we are picking up how the collective feels. Everybody's happy most everybody's happy on Fridays. And then the same holds true Sunday nights, Mondays and Tuesdays is heavier because everybody's like, it's time to go back to work. And it's just the general collective, because we can definitely feel the collective. Number 28. Empaths will not choose to buy antiques, vintage, or secondhand. This only affects some empaths, not all. Things that have been pre-owned carries the energy of the previous owner. While many empaths prefer to have something brand new, it is always possible to cleanse anything pre-owned and remove residual energies. And some people actually find stuff that they have good energies, and this varies with the empaths. 29. Some empaths can sense the energy of food. Sometimes they don't like to eat meat or poultry because they can feel the vibrations of the animal, especially if the animal suffered. This is a hot topic, especially in my support group, because there are people that are like, empaths must be vegans, empaths must be vegetarians, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, yes, a lot of them are, but not everybody. You can't categorize that, because some empaths still like the meat. And then of course there are animals that are properly handled and taken care of before they are slaughtered for food. I mean, they're the free range and grass fed and they have a happy life. And then, well, yes, sorry. Sorry, I was reading the page. Is everybody hearing me okay? Pretty much? Okay. So I'm sorry to who's not hearing me, but hopefully the recording will be good. Anyway, we can sense the energies off of food. Some can, some can't. It depends on the person and what they feel. So there's no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. It's all okay. And lastly, an empath can appear moody, shy, aloof, and disconnected. Depending on how an empath is feeling will depend on what face they will show the world. They can be prone to mood swings, and if they've taken on too many negative energies, they will appear quiet, unsociable, and even miserable. An empath detests having to pretend to be happy when they are sad. This only adds to their load. So, this makes working in the service industry, where it's service with a smile, very, very challenging and very frustrating. This can make them feel like they need to scuttle and hide under a stone somewhere or a waterfall, since water. These are the basic traits that I found on the internet that have been around now for ever since empath became a thing. Actually, I think of it as empath finally became a word, and people started recognizing it as real, and people started coming together and say, "Hey, I'm like that, and we're feeling other people's emotions." So it's like empathy, but not, because empathy is just putting yourself in other people's shoes, where being an empath is you're physically feeling other people's emotions, and it's just very, very difficult and overwhelming. Right now, empaths are having a really difficult time because of all the negative emotions being emanated into the world by the populace. Everybody's going through transformations. I mean, it's not just this virus thing. I mean, it's happening before, it's going to happen after. There's a lot of change going on, and we're feeling it. And a lot of empaths are waking up and are recognizing that there is something different about them. So they're looking for help. They're looking for support. And that's why I have this calling to come and present and help anybody that I can. You can join my empath support group. Make sure you mention moondance or something so that I know, because we do vet everybody that comes in there. So I try to block the bots. I try to block the narcissists. It's very difficult. So if you mention moondance, I'll be like, yes, I know you. So that's pretty awesome. So if you want to ask questions now, we could do a little break on that, or I can continue with my empath and Caridian. So, oh, um, okay. I will.
You're on mute, sweetie. No one can hear you.
It didn't freeze on anything unflattering or anything.
Well, that's good. Did it start back up?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Well, sorry about that. Okay, never a dull moment, is there? Technology, oi. So I will go ahead and go with the empath and Caridian, which I created the name. I'm kind of proud of that. It's basically a Bible for empaths that that you can refer to help you manage being an empath. The first thing that's always important when you're an empath, sorry, now that I've got up, my hair's all fuzzy. Be you. That's so important as an empath. You be yourself. Generally, empaths experience something traumatic or shame-inducing during their childhood. Even if they didn't personally experience the trauma, they felt it through somebody else. Any darkness you have ever experienced that you hold within yourself becomes the light you carry that guides others. I want to say that again. Any darkness you have ever experienced that you hold within yourself becomes the light you carry that guides others. Don't ever try to stuff away, ignore, or hide who you are or where you've been. It was not in vain, and it holds great meaning in your life, and therefore will hold great meaning in others. Grounding is so important for an empath. Take moments throughout the day to ground. Grounding brings instant release. Lay your forehead on a cool surface, your bare feet in the grass, your dirt, or just bare feet on any kind of natural surface. Touching a plant, hugging a tree, petting an animal, those are all things that'll help you ground. And as pagans, you all know this because we've needed to ground before and after rituals often. As you know, the calm and soothing energy runs through your body and it helps you center. It brings you into the present moment within yourself and can easily be practiced throughout the day. You can go for a walk, you can have something in your office or wherever you work. On a break, take off your shoes. There's always something that you can do to find a way to ground. Plants, animals, if you got access to animals, you know. Right now we all do, so if we're working from home. Those of us that have to work from home, sorry. Anyway, and the third thing that's really important is shielding. Shield whenever you think you're feeling emotions that are not your own. There are many ways to shield, and there's no right or wrong way. Crystals, and I've always heard black tourmaline and hematite are the best, are great. They can be worn or carried and used as a shield. I generally have a crystal that I carry with me, and this one has a really cool little thumb spot area. And then I also have a worry stone, which helps a lot too, just kind of grounds me. And I use that as shielding, so we've got a little bit of both going on with them. Another way of shielding is visualizations. I personally like waterfalls, where I imagine the water flowing over my head, and then taking any negative emotions and pushing them away from me. And it just is a shield of water that is just around me and allowing anything good in, like the little spray that's spraying that you feel in the waterfall, and then the rest is just flowing away into Mother Earth. Snow globes is one that I especially use with children, where they imagine themselves inside of a snow globe, and the snow in there reflects away all the bad energies, but allows in all the good energies. And this is really good with kids, to be able to imagine themselves inside of a snow globe. Just any kind of visualization. You can be simple and have it as a wall. You can have it as a curtain. I mean, because you don't always want it there. You want to be able to release it so that you can access the people that you want to let in. You can have protective garments that are nice shields, like a scarf or a jacket or something like that you can just like, okay, this is my shield. I am protected. You know, something that's just for you, that you would use. Another thing that's important for empaths is that you must have boundaries. With good boundaries, we feel our unique sense of self and our separation from others. This comes from being able to say no. With a sense of self and our own worthiness, we can prioritize ourselves over the needs and wants of others. This is an alien concept for most empaths, because we have very big hearts and generous nature. We generally care. We totally care, and it's just so hard to say no. Since we feel what others need and how much pain they're in, it's so difficult to say no. It requires us to be very honest about when we feel a yes and when we feel a no. A great way to tell when you feel no is to watch for resentfulness. Resentment is a red flag that lets you know you're in a situation with an energy imbalance, where you are giving more to a situation than you are getting back. Empaths must set boundaries. You've got to make sure people know. And if people are suddenly upset about having boundaries, then they weren't your friends anyway, and they're taking too much away from you. So those boundaries are important. You must have boundaries. An empath must have daily alone time. Find a quiet spot away from others. Take deep breaths and just let your body and mind be still. You just be still. No electronic devices, a view, or just close your eyes or something. You just take that moment. It really helps. And clear your mind. An empath experiences so many emotions and feelings from others every day. It can make you feel overwhelmed and leave our minds just going nuts, racing. I suggest journaling to release your thoughts. Start with, I've been feeling, and just write. There is no test. You don't need to spell check. Just write and release. Type, write, however you want to do it. Personally, as a pagan, since I'm releasing something, I like to burn it afterwards, because that way it just sort of, it's an extra method of releasing what's in your mind and any of the emotions and stuff. And then finally, you call your energy back in. This is so important too. I now release all of the energy that isn't mine and lovingly give it to Mother Earth. Or you could use a deity of your choice. I consider Kuan Yin as the empath goddess, because she is the goddess of compassion. So I have adopted her as the empath goddess. Anyway, sorry. And then after that, I now call back all the necessary parts of me that got displaced today to come back into me. I fill the rest of me with the healing energy from Mother Earth, or the moon, or the deity, or however you want. This cleanses your energy, ridding yourself of emotions that aren't yours and replacing them with your own energies and emotions. So that's the empath Eckarinian, and it's, to me, how the best way to protect yourself and become a controlled empath, so that you are in control of your life, your interactions with people, just everything that's so important with just living and kind of being normal, so that you can actually have a life without all the negative parts of your gift dragging you down. And then once you have control, that's when you can start helping people. That's when you can start making a difference. Don't start trying to help people until you are in a good place. You need to be able to master all of these things: being yourself, grounding and shielding, having your boundaries, your set alone time, your ability to clear your mind, and your ability to call back your energy. This needs to be part of your daily routine, or as needed. And then you can reach out and help people. And I like to be picky. I mean, you got to remember, you're not going to be able to help somebody who doesn't truly want to be helped. And your goal is not to actually do it for them. You guide them to helping themselves. So if you end up trying to help somebody that's not ready to be helped and not willing to do the work, they will come back again and again and again expecting you to do it for them. So you cannot do it for them. You must guide them to doing it themselves, because they will have to continue to do this for the rest of their lives, or they will continue to, they need to learn how to do this to continue to grow. So so important that you actually guide. Don't do it, you guide them. And it's just amazing because you can watch them grow. Another important thing for empath to always remember is that you need friends that are at the same vibrational level as you are or higher. So, kind of around the same area, because otherwise they will continue, these people that are lower than you will continue to bring you down. They are not your friends, but you can guide them. Once again, they have to be ready and willing to be guided, and they can raise their vibrational levels. But if they're not ready, they're going to continue to bring you down, and they're going to never want to raise themselves either. So these people cannot be your true friends. You have to set those boundaries again. So you find people of the same vibrational level or higher, and then those are the people that you can hang out with, that you can share yourself with. These are your trusted inner circle. These are the people that will be there, and if you're at the same level, will likely grow the same as you. I mean, we all have our different paths and journeys, and we all go up and down at different levels of vibration. But we all have to end up, in order to grow, we have to be around other people that are also growing instead of people that are stagnant and not able to grow themselves and raise their vibrational levels. I don't know what I would do if I was not an empath. I cannot imagine trying to go through this world without my gift. I wouldn't be me. And it would be just terrifying to try to go out in the world and not know the things that I know. I would not know how to interact with people. I would not know that somebody is having a bad day and I could say something wrong, and then there would just be that downhill rock slide of emotions that I would not be aware of. And where, as an empath, I can go and say one thing that was positive, and their day would be better, and that gets moved forward. So it's kind of like a ripple in the water. You make one person better, and it just keeps rippling out and causing more. It's kind of a pay it forward. And I love my gift, and a lot of people are scared of it, and I want to make sure don't be scared of it. Learn to control it, learn to love it, and you will make a hell of a difference in this world. And you will just feel it. It will just buoy you up. Everybody has down times, but you will be okay. I made a difference today, and you just that's an amazing feeling. So that's my goal for you. Is I want you to become an in control empath and start making those ripples. Okay, so I will take questions now if anybody has any.
Unmute yourselves to ask questions.
Can I be heard?
Yeah, there's a voice.
Oh, hi, Kaylee. It's Mason. So I do have a question. Or I guess more of a statement and wondering your thoughts on it. So sometimes I pick up so many different, I guess, emotions, thoughts, feelings throughout the day, and it just, or I guess, over a period of days, I eventually just kind of I'll feel them and I'll understand them and they're there, but they don't actually affect me. It's kind of and it just the way I guess it feels like my emotions are dead. It just almost I wouldn't say sociopathic. It's kind of not right, but I somebody once told me it was a defense mechanism that my body does, where I just kind of like go through day by day emotionless. But what are your thoughts on that?
That definitely sounds like a defense mechanism. I went through a period of time like that myself where I just didn't feel anything. And it was a difficult time. What was more difficult though was actually trying to um, bring back the emotions. That was the tough part, was to actually break down those walls, and I had to truly meditate on breaking down those walls that I didn't even know that I had built up, to allow myself to feel again and to allow emotions to come to me again, because I just wasn't whole anymore without my gift.
Hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did my camera die again? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
I kind of wanted your thoughts or opinions on how either being an empath and feeling other people's feelings affects your dreams or vice versa. Because I have ridiculously detailed, horrible nightmares like every night. And I don't know why.
That's a difficult thing. Generally, as an empath, I don't find myself having nightmares. Plus, I've learned how to control my dreams. Um, I honestly think that at night, sometimes I work at the Akashic, I cannot say that right, the record hall, and
Akashic.
there we go. And I find myself, doing things in my dreams that are kind of empath related. So, is it possible that you're having flashbacks from a previous life? Have you written down the dreams and tried to interpret them?
Yeah, I do that. If they are flashbacks, I had one hell of a past life.
Well, we all have some interesting ones, I think. I was in an insane asylum. Yay. But I would start, I mean, I really don't know too much about dreams. I would write them down if I were you and try to explore what they, I would Google it and probably try to explore what they might mean, if they have meanings. Um, and then I really, this is out of my area of
Sorry.
No, okay. I like trying to. I mean, maybe somebody else has an idea, perhaps. But I apologize.
I can talk to you after this. I don't want to take someone else's classes, but I have more experience with dreams and am myself a dream walker and also an empath. So there is some correlation between those two, but we'll talk later.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
I do. So, I have found that recently I've opened up my own emotions. I went through a time where I had to shut down my because there was so much going on. But now I've found that I have opened my emotions, but I'm finding myself sick almost all the time.
Um,
Is there a way to somehow not make myself sick?
well, I do think that shielding will make a difference, grounding and shielding. Setting up boundaries, making sure that people aren't walking all over you.
Okay.
If you are a healer, you might want to explore that possibility. Maybe you're picking up other people's illnesses and you're meant to heal them.
Yeah. I
And
think
then,
I've picked up on my mom's sicknesses recently
yes, that's
as well.
definitely a very good possibility.
Oof.
So,
All right. Thank you.
yes. Anybody else? I think we have about 3 minutes before we're supposed to end this. Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
We supposed to cut off like 5 minutes before?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
understanding.
We've got maybe 4 minutes left. Thank you. That was a good class.
Sorry about the camera issues.
It happens. The
Okay.
I was waiting for other people's questions to be done because I had more observations.
Okay.
Just a couple things that go against. Empath is kind of a spectrum.
Yes.
And there's a spectrum for all those things because I happen to be a thrift store shopper.
Yep.
But I pick up things that have good energy. I don't like the feel of a blank thing. I
Okay.
like something to have some original energy. And if it's not good, I'll clean it off. But there are some items that I find in thrift stores that I keep because of the positive emotions and feelings that they have in them.
Oh, yes. Me too.
I'm actually the same way. I do a lot of antique shopping and secondhand stuff, and I look for things that have the energy that I need in them.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That's
that
kind
makes
of
a
how
lot
I
of
am too.
sense.
Sorry, that was rude of me. I said I'm the same way as well.
I should do push to talk like everybody else is doing now.
And as much as like I need time alone from people, as an empath, I have to be around people. Like,
See, and I'm the exact opposite. I have to be away from people. Like, small groups I can do for a short period.
I'm an ambivert. Sometimes I want to be around people, sometimes I don't. And oh my God, I miss getting hugs. Oh, I miss hugs.
I guess as far as the antique thing goes and the residual energy, I'd like to say point out like as far as like work goes, I really tend to want just clean, absolutely just clean energy, but sometimes it really, really does help to have that residual energy. Like let's say for something, for example, like lightning struck wood.
Yeah,
But I thought I'd just point that out.
that's very true.
I'm gonna have to get off, guys. We got a storm that just hit and my power's out.
I noticed it's about to storm here. We have opening ritual in 5 minutes, y'all, on Zoom.
oh no!
Can you please join us there?
I will probably not be there since my internet's down.
Okay.
Oh no! Well, we'll see you either later or tomorrow.
Bye, guys. Oh, hey, look, caller.
Ah!
Bye.
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 Okay, I'll swap to Zoom then. Love you
Oh
guys.
wait.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Bloop bloop bloop.
power of love.
I would actually the first time I realized I was empathic as a kid. I was a Christian. I didn't even know about magic,
Yeah.
and I was in the youth group.
Same.
And it's kind of crossed with being transgender, which is why I actually connected with this person. Is the first person of our youth group to get pregnant. I had a dream, and in the dream I was pregnant, and it was like first I was male looking and pregnant, and then I was female and pregnant, and the next day I had symptoms of being pregnant. Oh, am I just talking to myself? Am I talking?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
My camera would probably.
I'm not on camera right now.
So I felt ill the next day, and I was with a female friend doing a thing for the church at the mall. That's a longer story. But I told her my symptoms, and she was like, "You sound like you're pregnant."
Wow.
So that the
I
first
had something similar
physical
too.
symptoms of somebody is kind of linked to trans too, because the first female that got pregnant, I'm a natural mom. Like I've always wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had similar, like when my cousin first got pregnant, she's been trying for like 4 to 5 years now. And when before she found out she was pregnant, I had pregnancy symptoms, and I was freaking out because I don't sleep around. And I talked to my cousin, and she goes, "I'm having the same symptoms." I was all like, now I know where mine are coming from.
That's fair.
Yep. Thank
Sure.
you, everybody, for coming.